This week on Jaywalking, I sit down with a good buddy of mine, Justin Lamar. He's got an amazing show coming out May 9th at Helium called Jokes and Jrinks. He runs an amazing show every Thursday at the Crafty Crab in Abington. Got to check that out. Always Jokes and Jranks. Check him out at Justin Lamar on all the platforms and enjoy the show because we talk about being consistent, being comics, being humans. See you next time. All right, we're back another week and another guest. I'm super excited to have my guy Justin Lamar in the house tonight. How are you doing?
What's going on, Jay? How you doing, man? I'm glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
It's been too long.
It has been.
You're the kind of guy that when I see you, I'm so grateful. I'm like, oh, I haven't seen this guy in forever.
Yeah.
Like, you're always smiling. You're super cool. So I feel like my street cred goes up anytime
I know.
You're like, I want to walk. You're like the arm candy. I want to walk around. I'm like, this is my friend. You guys.
I'm responsible for bringing quite a few white people to the cookout. So, and I'm glad, Jay. I'm super proud to bring Jay.
That's right. I know how to behave.
Jay be in the middle doing this type of shit. Jay's doing the worm again. Jay's out of control.
I watch Soul Train. Come on, that's enough. No, I'm excited. Do you remember? I would usually ask like where we first met. Do you remember where we first met? I think I do.
So I'm going to tell you my first memory of you.
Okay,
actually.
let's do that.
And it wasn't in person. It was actually Tommy Too Smooth.
Oh yeah.
Tommy Too Smooth said that there's this guy named Yoder. He is excellent. I said, "Fuck that guy." What do you mean? I thought I was. I thought I was excellent. No, but Tommy was actually the first person who made me aware of you. I don't remember when we first met.
I do.
Was it Neil? With Neil?
No, it was at this barbecue restaurant. It was the first time I ever got a headline spotter. They called me on the flyer, the headliner or whatever that means. But like, it was at this barbecue restaurant right next to where Mel Harris used to run that Mike Attic Brewing.
Yeah.
So it was attached there. It was a clean comedy show by, I guess, Job Mixon.
Yes.
And you came in and did a spot on the show.
Was it D Cafe?
Yes.
That was in Derby, I think. Like
Derby. Oh, maybe West it was Philly. Maybe, yeah, exactly.
Wait, hold up. But Mel Harris was in that gentrified part of Philly, at the Attic Brewing.
Was that so it was a different spot? I thought that was the same spot. I thought it was the barbecue restaurant. Maybe I'm wrong, but it was definitely either way.
Was it with Job?
It was with Job. It was Deke's Barbecue.
Deke's. I remember Deke's. Yeah.
And there was like a clean comedy show there, and I was headlining because I had just done. It makes sense because Tommy had just invited me to feature for him at some other place nearby, and then Job was there for one of the shows, and that's how I got invited to it.
Yeah.
And then you came on and did some time in the show, and that was the first time because I remember you talking about your kids.
Yeah.
And them fighting and stuff, and
still got them.
Yeah, still got them. That's good.
They're still alive.
They're still alive. That's good.
Thank God.
That was the first time I remember meeting you for sure. And then then after that we'd see each other all the time. And I had the blessing. You have an amazing mic you started. I forget when it started, but I feel like it started a while back on Thursdays.
Jokes and Jrinks, 3 years running.
Dude,
every Thursday consistently.
It was at like just a seafood restaurant, but it was cool because it was in one of like a separate room. It wasn't like a surprise. Like if you were going to go there, you were there to watch comedy.
Exactly. And let me tell you, even just to say about that, you don't want to do comedy in a public place when people don't know there's comedy coming.
You don't want to, but you have to.
Yeah. I remember when we first started doing it, we started doing it like right at the bar area, like right when you walk in instead of the back room.
Oh.
And it was cool until a comedian's talking about his dick on stage while there's little kids walking around, in with their families. That's not what you want.
No,
that is not what you want at all.
You need a separate space.
Yes. It is an adult show.
And it was cool though too because most mics, as you know, are just the comedians that show up, but there was a regular crowd of people who had souls. Yes. You know, I mean, they were going to tell you if it was good or not.
Yes.
And I always loved that. Usually it was a good amount of like older women too. Which It's like the perfect demographic.
Shout out to aunties,
dude. If you could nail it with them, then you're good. It's almost like your joke's bulletproof.
No, that is real because as you know, going through the grind of stand up and shout out to you. I feel like you never went through the grind. I feel like you just shot to the top like immediately. But kudos to you. But most comics have to go through the open mic grind, and I'm sure you did too. I know you did.
Yes.
And you know how it is trying to deliver to comics. It's terrible.
I used to run this tuned up mic. The first thing I ever started was at this tuned up mic right when the pandemic opened, and after everything was opening up, and it was like a lot of times it was just the comics and then the one bartender. And it's
Yeah.
just like, and then I'm hosting, so I had to be the first one to get up every time, every Wednesday. And it was like soul crushing because it's like you want the dopamine rush you want from hearing people laugh isn't happening.
No, it's not.
And you have to act as if. You have to, in your mind. Like, thank God I was an only child and I could, like, you know how many times I made believe I won the World Series in my backyard? So, like, I had to really tune into that kid to get through those weeks because or I had, like, and then I got a few where it was humbling because, like, you know, obviously I got on that board teacher store and I'm in front of all these friggin' people. So I did a run of, like, sold out shows. I got home on a Sunday and did a show at the side room of Savannah's, which is a strip club in Harrisburg.
Yeah, I've been to Savannah. Shout out Savannah's.
to four people, and two of them were comics, and one of them was on their phone the whole time. And I had to do all 30 minutes. And
you did 30 in front of 4?
Oh, dude, it was so painful. I mean, I had, you know, yeah.
There should be some type of like limit or rule that if you shouldn't have to do more minutes than there are people in the crowd. You know what I mean? Like that's just torture at that point.
Actually, Talent one time, who I'd met through Tommy, had called me once, and he's like, "Hey, I got a gig down in Delaware, and there was a place called the Laugh House. It's now." House of Laughs?
House of Laughs, maybe.
House of Laughs. Yeah, Laugh House was one of the Northeast. So it was Philly one.
Okay.
Yeah, this was House of Laughs, and it was like a nightclub that they also did comedy in. Mm-hmm. And I guess he had this guy called John the comic, and it was like a white comic, but plays predominantly in black rooms. Mm-hmm. And then it was like Lamar Todd, and then he like asked me to go in there. And it was like, there was literally a couple. There were 2 people in the audience. And like to say this, we all did the show, super painful, and we all got paid very well for it.
Look, if you pay me well, I'll perform just myself.
That's when it made me think this place is not what it says it is. And then a few months later, it was shut down. So I don't know what happened, but it was like it's pain. Yeah, it is. It's painful when you're in some of those scenarios where, you know, you got to get up in front of these people, and there's not many of them. It's just hard to get a momentum.
But I will say though, you can definitely tell the comics who have had to do that and the comics who have not had to do that. Because prior to Jokes and Jrinks, I had what's called the Smoke and Mic. And my first show, there were 4 people there, and I was one of them. You know what I mean? Yeah. My wife was the other, and then shout out to Keith from up the block and Baby Cakes Darden because they were the other 2. And luckily, Keith loved to talk, so he did like an hour himself. Yeah. But you know, my 2 comics that I booked had car troubles, and they couldn't make it. And I just remember being so uncomfortable up there, but working through that.
Yeah.
Because once you get a good uncomfortable set, once you get a good bomb out, like it's like nothing can hurt you.
Yeah. Oh my God. Well, actually speaking, I had a bomb, the biggest bomb I ever had. So I had done the Stress Factory a couple of times with them on their like Sunday show.
That's a great show. Yeah.
And it was a great show, and I actually. The second time, because the first time I got off stage, I told this a couple weeks ago, Tommy pulled me aside. He's like, "You ever talked to black people before?"
He said, "Do you know us?"
And I would just start. Then the topics I was picking was just, it was just like open mic style topics. So once I started talking about my family and started, getting into real stuff, it was good. And so I had this really good set in front of Michael Collier, and and through some, a couple months later, I ended up featuring for him when he was coming to Delaware. And I had to do, I guess, like 20, 25 in front of him. And I'd never done that long yet at that point.
Yeah.
But and then it was a nightclub setup. So there were like several bars. It was like platformed out. And it was just, literally 500 black people and me. And then
me, 500 black people and me.
And they're like coming in at different times. They're at different parts of the bar. Some of them were ordering food, and I had to get up. There was a guy that, hosted, and he went up and didn't do any comedy, just kind of like introduced the show or whatever.
Yeah.
And then brought me up to cold to do 20 minutes while they're still shuffling in. And like that was like, the flop sweat was real. I was just sitting there, and I'm just going through it. I'm doing it, and then the ones who are listening, all the guys have their arms crossed. At one point, I'm talking, and I'm just like, oh, this is so tough. I think they lit me like 4 minutes early to get off, and then like Michael came out and just annihilated the place.
Yeah.
I remember wanting to run out of there. Like I got out of the stage, I was so embarrassed. I went into the green room real quick, and then Michael was about to come out to go on stage.
Right.
And he's like, "Did you have fun?" And I'm like, "Yeah." I'm gonna lie to you. Yeah, I had fun.
It was excellent.
Yeah, and then I was like, "Oh, hopefully." Apparently he definitely didn't hear what was going on. I'm so grateful for that. And so then I'm like, all right, I'm just gonna hang out. So I hung out in the back, and then some guy walked by. He's like, "You were all right." He just like,
The little
I liked
bitty
you.
hero.
Yeah. It was just like, I'm like, oh my God, I'm dying inside. But I didn't want to leave early because I wanted to say, I wanted to thank him and all of that. And I stayed. But I just remember the feeling of sitting in that after.
Ugh.
And just like, what are you doing with your life? What are you doing? You should be putting your daughter to bed right now.
I have been there. I had a black woman damn near save my ego after I bombed. I don't even know where I was. Somewhere I blocked out the whole thing. You know how you just block out trauma?
You have to.
I don't even know. I don't know what state it was. I don't know what venue it was. But I remember saying, "It's okay, baby. You're gonna be okay." I think she knew that was the end for me, bro. It's that's character building.
It is, honestly, it is character building. When I help out with some of the comedy classes at Joel's, that's the first thing I say. I'm like, guys, and I tell them, like, you got to go to a mic, and it's gonna when you do the show, and the graduation show is like always killer, and like, I'm like, you guys don't realize this isn't real life. So
yeah.
So I have them go to open mics during it so they can kind of experience that, feel like the Rocky gym where you're like throwing a tire uphill, so that hopefully if you do that enough, you can just ride a bike downhill at the show,
And when you get that ride a bike downhill feeling, and it's there's nothing like it.
No,
but you definitely have to have that contrast, and that is why I feel like I get so much kudos from the Jokes and Jrinks show, because like I said, we got regular audience members that's there to see comedy. Now they ain't gonna laugh at no bullshit.
No, that's right.
They are a comedy aware crowd. They are very intelligent. They learned how to work the light.
No, they know. I did. Well, and you guys treat it like it's like a it is a show. It's always been like you've always acted as if, and now you're getting an opportunity to run it at Helium. Am I right?
Yes, Helium, May 9th.
That's wild. So
May 9th.
That's what happens if you treat everything, and that's how I did a lot of stuff. Every mic I did, I treated it like it was a live show. People were there and paid money, and that's how you treated that mic for the last 3 years. And it isn't. It's really just been a show. And now you get a bigger stage. You're like, hey, we're moving out of the seafood house and we're going to Helium.
Right. And it's and there's I think there's a necessity for both. Like no matter how big I get or how big I don't get, like I'm going to keep that room. Like even if. Shout out to Preach. She's one. I mean, I've seen him grow so much. Oh my God,
what a great dude!
And that's what I look for in comedy. Got people who are good comics and good people, and I found that with him. And the weeks that I can't be there, I know the show is going to be just fine.
Yeah,
I know he knows how to run it. I know he's a great host. And I love seeing comics get better week in and week out coming theirs, and that's part of what makes the show great. The caliber of comic that you can see on the Thursday night. So
yeah, no, it's great. So I mean, if you ever Crafty Crab, that's the name of the place. If you ever get out there on a Thursday, but
1482 Old York Road,
dude. But May 9th, mark those calendars. That'd be great, especially at Helium. You pack that out and let all those aunties come on out and have a good time with everybody else. Because the comics that you asked that you have performed, because you also ask some people as like featured comics to come in addition to the open mic. So it's like nice. It's like a nice mix of because that's for comedy when it started at Joel's during the pandemic, very blessed because you were seeing pro level comics and people who just needed therapy, And it was just like a nice mix because you're only going to get better if there's other people on there that are challenging you to be better.
Agreed.
You want to play on the same court as Kobe. You want that.
Well, I'm gonna tell you this, and I'll often say this or share this just with the experience of running the mic. But when I first got Jokes and Jrinks, I was probably like one of the strongest comics in the room, right? And I got Preach, and at the time, I thought I was stronger than Preach. Now I'm not so sure. I'm not because he's gotten so good. Because sometimes I sit back and do the producer role. I make sure people are getting seated. I make sure people,
comfortable.
I become a server at some point. You need to, I want to make sure everybody's having a good time because it's about the experience. And what I found is, Preach, Tommy Too Smooth, people like yourself, who come there week in and week out and kill, and I got to go up after that. It makes me so much stronger because there's a level of play in the room that needs to be, you need to play to, maintained, and we've come to expect that. So that's actually been one of the challenging things because I've sat back there and questioned myself like, damn, am I as funny as these guys who are provided the stage for? But that's a good thing. You want to be.
Yeah,
you want to be challenged. You want to be pushed. You want to get better. So
yeah, no, you're right. I think that the level, that's why I say with the comedy class that I do at Joel's, like there are some people that I think would slack off, but they become such a close group of like 12 or 14 people that they start seeing some of the others push, and it like makes them want to rise to the occasion. So when you do that, when you create an environment where people are like, oh, I respect the room enough to not go up there and do that joke, and that says something. That's what I always liked about if people curate a mic and you have the same host every time and they care about it, then they know not to play because they don't want to. That's not going to be okay here. And you've created a culture there, which is what you want to do. Where people respect the game, they're working hard, and then the people who are there want to keep coming because they enjoy that environment. They're not seeing people go up there and talk about listening to their neighbors have sex with no clear punchline or cleverness. Yes. I mean, I've heard a joke recently that's just been driving me nuts to listen to. My ears hurt. And I'm just like, dude, you got to be clever than that. That's, but I think you create an environment where people force each other to do their best stuff, or at least, be in a level to respect the fact that there are people here and they're, they deserve a joke that resonates with them and not one that you just want to tell because you want to hear the buddies in the back laugh like hyenas,
Yeah, it's definitely not that type of situation. Especially when you got old black women, they'll make you feel fucked up about yourself. Because if you tell a joke and it don't hit, and all you hear is you don't know how bad that shit hurt. It hit you right here.
Yeah, but you get one of those good laughs, and then that'll carry you through for a lifetime.
It can go either way.
I'll never forget the Stress Factory when I did in front of Michael when I did really well. I still have the audio. Sometimes I'll listen back just when I can't finish. I just put that on. Yeah, that's great. But yeah, there's not when you have them and you have an audience and they're really enjoying, because that's what I love stand up, because it's like, making a group of strangers friends. That's really what it is. It's like, how can we do that? And, and being consistent and reliable is part of that. I often, when I'm at an open mic and it's a really bad one that nobody's caring to curate, and I've had to listen to all this stuff, I'll get up and I'll always tell the story. I'll say, hey, you guys know why they call it stand-up comedy? Do you know why they call it stand-up? Have you ever heard of this?
No.
So a lot of people say like vaudeville, like they used to sit down, so like stand-up. But I said there's another theory that back in the day, mobsters used to manage boxers, and if they were a good boxer, they won reliably, consistently, they called him a stand-up fighter. And when they would have dinner with their wives, they would invite funny men in the back to entertain them, and if they were reliably funny, they called them a stand-up comic. So it's more about the consistency and reliability. Yeah. And then I'll say, and that's why this show said open mic comedy. I was like,
it is. You know what? I was because my friend just started comedy too, right? I'm having an effect on everybody. I got my friend to do comedy.
You know how many former students I've had take my class now? I've had like 6 former students come and take my class.
It's crazy. It's like we're infecting them.
I had them in 7th grade baseball, and now they're 30-year-old men in front of me taking comedy. It's crazy.
So he started doing comedy. So he's getting the experience of the open mics that we're talking about. He's seen mine. He's seen the others, and now he sees the difference. And it's like, open mic comedy is like it's like a urinal. It's like a public urinal. Like you can come dump your shit on the mic, but nobody wants to smell. It's like a porta potty.
Yes.
It can be a porta potty. You should be respectful in it.
Yes.
Do what you do. Try not to leave your shit all, because other people got to use this. No. But it happens though. Like,
yeah, well, some of them it always looks like the last day of the festival. That's all I'm gonna say. It's like, you can keep it. I've seen some pretty clean porta potties, but I've seen some ones that are just you're right. Because like even when I think about a mic, like especially if I'm gonna be going away from my family for the night, or I gotta ask myself the investment. Like even on a Monday night, sometimes it's tough because like Mondays maybe you have punchline every once in a while,
right?
And then you have like John and Peters and New Hope.
I actually went there the first time. I had a great time there.
Such a great mic. That's like usually my go-to, but it's like an hour and 15 minutes.
Oh, is it?
For me, yeah. And if I go to to Punchline, it's the same because of the time of when it is. I have to leave by 4:30 to get there by 6 to sign up for the show at 7. So already I've been out of the house 2.5 hours before it even starts, and then you get 3 minutes.
Yeah.
And you're like, oof, I better have something that I need to work on. Or, then you got to decide, like, what do I do with that 3 minutes? Because, like, I don't want to, do I just sit there and do something new? I don't know what's going to work. And then I just drove all this way. I did not get a laugh and not know. But it's, like, hard because you're like, all right, well, I'm going to go tell a quick 15, 20-second one that'll, like, get me a laugh and establish me. And then I can do 90 seconds of this new bit, and then I know I have 30 seconds at the end to hit him with something. So at least I knew in the beginning and the end I got him. Yeah. And then in the middle I had something to work on. Because you got to go we got to go like baseball. I used to get into the cage and be like, all right, today we're working on outside pitches, or today we're working on up the middle. You got to have the same mentality as a comedian. Like, what am I working on today? What am I trying to do? And you can't, because I heard I think it was Mike Winfield, but somebody was doing like a hot breath. I don't know if you listen to this podcast or see the clips, but it's a lot of inside baseball and comedy, and with usually established comedians. And he's like, bombing. He's like, oh, I hate when people say they never bomb. Like, bombing can be a couple different things. Like, for him, he qualified bombing as when he was too afraid to try something new because it was going so well that he just wanted to keep killing that room. And I was like, that's true. I said, I always found myself in that. So the last couple, I've had some really good opportunities where, it was like sold out shows. I did like Joe Gatto with Impractical Jokers, and then I just did one with Alex Perlman from you ever seen Pearl Mania?
Yeah. I've been following Pearl.
He's yelled at all of us through his phone at some point. But like, getting to in the middle, I've been working on these new like cheer dad stuff that I'm going to start doing some shows that are more geared to like cheer parents for like, so I'm like, oh, I got to start working on some jokes, but it's painful because I know it's too inside baseball for some of the crowds I'm at where they don't have they don't know it. So I'm trying to, and I'm like, oh, I got to do these in the middle. It's going to suck because you're riding this high from starting strong, and then you're just going to be this dip for a minute. But you got to kind of work through it, or the laughs are going to be like B- C+ laughs when you've been getting A's and B's.
It's very tough, man.
And you can feel it. Like, I can feel it, and then you can hear it. You know what I mean? So you're just like, oh, there was a drop there. But you have to do that because that's the only way those are going to get better.
It's crazy, too, because like bombing looks different for every comic.
Yeah.
Like an amateur comic, you just not going to get no laughs.
Yeah.
I may get laughs all through my set, but like you said, like, yo, that wasn't,
you can
wasn't
tell.
even close.
Yeah.
Really, you could just tell by how much I'm sweating.
Yes, that's right. Well, I'm always. I'd be having a great time. I'm always sweating. So
Me too.
But you're right. When you're bombing and not doing,
man, that sweat is a different type of sweat.
So
you were a rotisserie
bad.
chicken up there, motherfucker.
It is so bad.
It is bad. I want to ask you too, because I saw you on a board teachers tour. How did that come about? How did the board teachers? Because that shit is insane,
dude. I stepped in it. So actually, the guy that I featured for with Alex Perlman is a guy named Tell Williams. And he's known as like Mr. Pre-K Pause on social media. He's got like millions of followers.
Yeah.
And so he was part of the board teachers tour, but he was also featuring for a guy named Gaspar Randazzo, who became a good friend of mine, who I just saw on a flyer doing a show at Punchline, and it was teacher themed. And I'm like, oh, I just got done doing a show with Lamar. This is what pre-board teachers, obviously.
Yeah.
I hadn't written teacher material because I was trying to do comedy to forget about teaching. It was like supposed to be my recess.
Yeah.
But then Lamar kind of, I saw Lamar running teacher theme show. I'd run into him at a mic. I said, hey, I'm a teacher. And he's like, oh, yeah, you want to come and do some time? So it made me kind of force me. So then I hit up this guy, Gasper, and he was so nice enough to give me time that I had a really good set in front of the show. And then that feature, Tell, actually introed me to the guy at Board Teachers. And it was at a perfect time because they had just started the tour in the year before. And so they had a base of comics, but they only had like 2 or 3 comics, and then they had like 2 or 3 influencers who were trying to, be comics. But they had such a following that people they could have read the phone book and it would have been fine.
Right.
So then I got in at the perfect time where they were increasing their roster. And then I just started doing shows, and, and that was like 3 years ago now.
I was like, you learn about comedy, right? And there's like different segments of comedy, and I was like, they have a board teachers tour?
It's wild.
It's like, is this only during the summer? Like,
so it's actually, that's the only time we don't run it. Funny enough.
And that's great, because I was telling my wife as I came up here, I was like, Jay, he's like, yeah, he did the board teachers tour. It's like, they only do it in the summer. I was like, I actually don't think so.
So one summer we did. They tried it a couple years ago, and it was cool because I got like 26 dates during the summer. I was traveling all over the country. We were doing comedy clubs, though, instead of theaters then, because he wasn't. It was like a bunch of different of one of us rotating in, but it just didn't sell as well. And
In the
then
comedy club?
and in the summer and in the comedy club, because what they realized is what happens is all of these teachers at their faculty meetings, at their group meetings, they buy them as groups and come together.
Yes.
So in the summer, they're not together like that. So now you got to kind of hunt them one at a time.
Ah, shit.
But when they're together during the school
Catch them
year,
in the pack.
they're all get together. The whole school will go. They'll all Venmo one person. Someone will buy all the tickets or whatever.
I know where I'm going to be promoting after this. I'm going to.
It's like, and it's a good run. Well, it's unfortunate because I've been on the ones around here for the last 3 years, so they're rotating the lineups a little bit. So unfortunately, I'm going to like Texas in the fall. Next week, I'm going to 3 places in Wisconsin and Minnesota. And then in the fall, I'm also in like Binghamton and Buffalo. But there's going to be a run coming through. I've done the Reading, Santander or whatever they call it, Santander. Yeah. I've done that 3 times now with them, and it was sold out twice. One, it would have been sold out, but the HVAC went down and the lights went off.
Yeah.
So they had to reschedule it for like a Wednesday and a whole other time. And it was like a lot of people asked for their tickets back because they couldn't make the Wednesday because it's a weird time because the original show was like a Sunday. And so, so now they're, like, shaking up the lineup next time they're coming. So I'm not actually going to be on the Reading one in November, which is a bummer because I always like to do ones close to home. But,
right.
But, yeah, so I got very lucky. So, yeah, I've done about 12 dates with them this year, and then I have 6 more in the fall.
Now, I'm assuming most of the material, not just from you, from other comics, is teacher-heavy material.
Yeah, teacher-heavy material. But, the nice stuff is I'll talk about my daughter a lot with autism because there'll be a lot of, teachers who teach kids with autism there. Right. I can do a lot of parenting stuff because a lot of them are parents or they deal with the parents. Mm-hmm. So, you can really – because every year we have to have a new set, because it's a new tour, so they advertise it as new jokes.
Right.
And then this year I actually involved in my set a audience component where I bring up a college student studying to be a teacher and someone who just retired and play like a generational like lingo kind of game with them.
Yeah.
So I've involved that, which is cool because it like unlocks this whole improv where like you have to feed off of what they say and still kind of keep it going, which I love the challenge of that. And I wanted to try something new and add to the experience of the show rather than just be stand-up. Because they do some interactive stuff in the beginning. There's a DJ, so they do like a little dance party vibe up front.
It looks so dope.
Honestly, it's
like my dad always wanted to be. God rest his soul. I love you, Pop. And he was right. I should have been a teacher. I should have been a teacher. As first of all, they just need more positive black male role models in the schools.
100%, 1,000,000%.
And I actually do like. Dealing with the youth. And I got two myself. I got 2 little ones, but it's like I love the fact. Something I love about comedy in this day and age, as opposed to what it was back in the day, is that you can go. Your audience can find you.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Oh my goodness!
Like whatever your niche is, whatever you want to talk about, there is a group of people that want to hear about it and listen to it, and are glad you're speaking for their perspective.
Yep, but that's what's so great because like that, and then I got to do podcasts through it, and they have like a whole thing. So yeah, it was really cool because they fly everywhere, they drive you around, they you get nice dinners every night there. Either the place has a catering thing, or we order in from a restaurant. So like they treat you like. It's just like you're Mick Jagger, like the green, all of the green room stocked with all the things that you asked for, and it's like it's crazy. I mean, it's like
how many people are usually on
4 on a show?
4,
4 on a show because we still make it a 90-minute show.
Okay,
so basically, basically we're each doing 20, and then there's some promo stuff and some videos in between.
Now, are all these people still actually teachers, or you just had to be a teacher at some time?
It's funny. I was one of the only ones that was still full-time teaching. There were a couple that were still full-time teaching, but the 2 main guys don't anymore. They actually go around and do a lot of keynotes at schools and stuff during the day. Okay. So they're usually during the day flying somewhere to go give a talk at a school and then flying back or over at night. So they had been. Everybody had been a teacher. Mm-hmm. But some different times and for varying lengths. But a lot of them were comedians, all prior to teaching as well. So It's a good mix now. It really is. And then we've added people like Mike Vecchione, who's just killing it out there. He's opening for like Nate and Louis C.K. on the road when he's not with us.
Right.
And then like Jared Waters is a New York City
love
comedian.
Jared Waters.
He's great. So he and I pal around. I love when I get to go on a run with him because we always stick together and have a good time. And he's
love his
great.
delivery and flow, man.
Yeah, and he'd be one that like when we would do these shows, he would be like, "Hey man, challenge yourself in the middle to tell a non-teacher story."
Is Jared Waters a teacher as well?
Yeah, he did elementary.
Okay, yeah.
Like like really young kids, like almost like preschool, I think.
Yeah.
So he talks about a lot of fun stories and some of the ones he was doing there. I don't know if he just subs now or whatever, but yeah, he was. Yeah, so. But yeah, he would always challenge it. We'd always do a joke that he would tell in the city, and see if it would fly, to see how it would do. Because sometimes some of these crowds are not comedy crowds; they're teachers. So it's like you really, Mike Vecchione and I were talking about on the last run we did. We went through the Midwest. We were like Louisville, then we went up to Indiana, Ohio, and ended in Erie. And we were talking about some of the nights, like Indiana, that was not a comedy crowd. They were there for teacher material. So like if you did anything that was like more snappier comedy style, they weren't like, it just didn't hit as hard as like lesson plans. Am I right?
Yeah,
and
so even the setup is
they're just like
the setup is like the punch.
Yeah, so it's like it's cool because I've written some stuff and then I can tell a lot of that stuff at Joel's too. I can do some of that in other clubs and it'll still work because either it's parents who have the kids or it's kids who are eating, bits on like Takis and stuff like that I'll talk about.
My kids love Takis, man.
So me too. I love Takis. But yeah, so you learn how to. You might have to change the setup based on where I am, but for the most part, the jokes are transferable because I know that because I'm so grateful I'm not just doing the teacher tour. Like, would it be great to have all that money if I was doing all 100-some shows a year? Oh my God, I'd be making triple what I made teaching. But that would be great. But I told them like I'm happy like 1 weekend a month. That's enough to be away from my family like that. Because like, even next week I'll leave on Thursday. I get home on Monday. Like that's a long time to be away.
I agree.
And it's like if that was every week, and then you imagine that I get home Monday. And then I have Tuesday, Wednesday, then I'm back out on the road again. Like, what kind of life would that be like? You know what I mean? Like, that would be, I wouldn't want that. Like, I put full availability on my avails, but like, part of me is like, oh, I wouldn't want all of that.
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong, it's good money, but like, I listened to people like Fluffy, who's on the road 330 days a year or something ridiculous.
Balance is so tough, man.
Missed most of his kids' birthdays and Christmas and all of this stuff. And I'm just like, I think I'm grateful that I had a life and a career prior to this so that I had some perspective on that. But like, yeah, it's just a hustle. And there's many ways to make money, whether I'm writing for people or whether I'm doing some of the comedy schools. Like there's enough ways to make money and be in the game. And so I'm so grateful because, like I just left teaching. It's been almost 3 months since I quit. And that was like a big shift where, people are like, oh man, you got to stay. If you teach, you're supposed to be a lifer. You're supposed to, and I thought I was going to be for 35 years. Oh, I'll teach. I'll be able to retire at 54. And 21 was as much as I got. It was just too much. And then I was doing both worlds well. Like it was working, but then it got to a level where if I'm doing those Thursday, Friday runs with board teachers, I had to take days off.
Right.
And I ran out. You only get 3 personal days a year. You can bank 2 from the previous and build it up to 5. But even still, like that, I had so many weekends that I couldn't. I was asking them to just give. I didn't want to pretend I was sick because they were going to post on social media.
Can't do that.
Yeah, and I can't tell them not to post me. I'm contractually obligated to be in those photos. So I just was getting to a place where it was too hard to navigate. And I tried to be honest. I sat down with my super and I just said, hey, man, I want to navigate both worlds. I want to keep teaching. I need these days off. Can you just not pay me? And I'll like leave a thing, trying to think if maybe that would suit them. And it wasn't enough. They were like, no, we can't do that because then we'd have to do that for other people. I'm like, what other people?
Yeah, who else is doing comedy? Who else is touring the country doing comedy?
And I'm like doing it for teachers. It's educational. Like, because during the day, I'm like, at a school, maybe giving a presentation or doing like I'll teach stand up to teachers for like de-escalation tactics with how to deal with students and staff conflict. And like, so I'll do that during the day and then that at night. And I'm like, so it's like, dude, that's great. You should want a teacher in your district to be asked to do that on a national level. Like you would think, and I've been there since I was college. I've been there half my life, 21. I got there at 21 when I was in college and did my student teaching there. And then they hired me after that. So I've been there 21 years, half my life. And I thought I had enough clout that maybe they'd roll with me on it, and they just said nope. So it was like, I think it was great. It was great because it forced me to kind of just let go of the one limb and swing to the next. Because if you're sitting there grabbing on both limbs, you're not going anywhere. So I was kind of stuck.
Stand.
Yeah.
I think that's the challenge of most comics, right? If you're not on the Kevin Hart, Jim Gaffigan, Jerry Seinfeld level, there's a lot of juggling.
Yeah.
And
you got to do a lot of different.
That you got to do.
Yep. So it was like one of those things where I was like, all right, we're going to do this. My wife was with me 100% because as soon as they said no to that, she knew that's where we were going. I mean, I'd already dropped to part-time. Like, I took a sabbatical, and then when I came back from sabbatical, I said, I can't imagine teaching 5 classes. Like, give me 3. I can handle 3. I'll come in a little late because I get my girls ready for school in the morning. I love doing that. I'm only going to get to do that for so many more years.
Right. How old?
So they're in 4th and 6th grade, so they're 9 and 12.
Okay.
So, like, I enjoy that. As much as it's stressful in the morning, I got it down to a science with them.
The morning do be stressful.
Because I hate when I looked, like this morning, I looked on the fridge, and my wife's so organized. So on the fridge is a little tablet by day, and it has, like, whether they're buying or packing. And
you got a tablet on your fridge?
What's that?
You got a tablet on
No, like an old school, like one of those. Like,
you got the iPad on
no,
the
it's like
fridge?
A pad. No, it's literally a pad and paper that has a magnet.
The iCloud on the fridge, okay.
But so we had this like notepad up there, and it says by day of the week, and then if they're buying which one's buying, which one's packing.
Yeah.
And then today I'm like, it said all pack. I'm like, now I gotta make the sandwiches. I gotta pack, and it's not that big of a deal, but it's just one extra thing. I'm like, because it's like I try to sleep as late as possible. Like we don't get up till 7:30.
That is the biggest problem for me and my wife.
8:25, they got to be on the bus. That means 55 minutes, and that means like dressed, eat, pack.
We're using every
so I'm
moment.
just like moving. Yeah, I'm just moving the minute I get up, and then we got a dog, so you got to let the dog out. So I have it down. Like I used to work in a kitchen, so I just consider it like a kitchen. Like you're always moving, something's always going on. While the toast is down, I'm like folding laundry. I'm like getting their outfits together, but. I don't want to give that up. I love doing that, so I didn't want to go back to teaching full time because then I would have I'd miss that. We'd have to hire somebody, or we'd have to. I don't want my mom at this point in her life. She could do it, but I don't know. I don't want that for her. I want her to be able to sleep in. She actually started working at the school as a volunteer grandparent.
Yeah.
So she goes in every morning and gets to see them, which is cool. So yeah, it's I don't know. I'm super blessed. I'm happy. I don't know what the future looks like, but. I've had a lot of really cool opportunities coming up. I've even started dabbling in like some acting with I'm in like a database for some stuff. So I've gotten some callbacks for like commercials and stuff.
Hell yeah.
I did a little Netflix spot that hopefully is going to come out. I don't want to say anything until it actually comes out.
Netflix.
But it's like, it's a scene. I get to laugh in a scene on a pretty popular show.
Yeah.
But I didn't get a speaking role, but it was SAG. So I got like my first SAG voucher or whatever. But yeah, I'm just dabbling. So I'm like trying all these things, and as soon as I resigned, the world just kept saying, "Hey, here's some more opportunities for you, that you didn't see were possible."
I had like a crazy situation like that too, because I've always, I'm one of those guys, comics that was like, I'm going to work and do comedy. Like I got 2 kids. I got to do it. And I had this one job that I absolutely hated. I used to work in sales, right, corporate sales, and this one boss, I had the epitome of a bad boss. Like he was like, he's like, yeah, I heard that you were doing stand up outside of here. I was like, yeah. He's like, oh, well, you can't do that. Are you making money? I was like, yeah, I'm not just going out there for free. Yes, I'm making money. And he was like, oh, well, you can't make any money outside of here. I said, what I do between
what are you
before 9 and after 5 ain't none of your business, right? So I got this opportunity to go to Bahamas to perform at Joker's Wild Comedy Club for 2 weeks, right?
Nice.
And I know he wasn't going to go for that, but I didn't care. I took the gig, and I got fired a month before. Well, a month before I was supposed to go. I was like, this worked out perfectly, but I'm so glad I took that gig, because if I would have said no to it and then been out of a job, and
oh my God,
I would have been, I'd have blew that bitch up. I'd have went back.
Dude, I'm telling you, that's right.
I'd have went back. Like, what? Ultimately, you got to bet on yourself.
Oh, that like 100%.
Or you're going to regret it. You're going to look back and be like, damn, why didn't I do that?
I think that's what makes me. That's what it's like when I wake up every day. Like when I woke up before and I had to do all that and think about my lessons for the day. Oh, it just started me on such a now like. there's so much hope in my heart when I wake up every morning. Like I'm just, as I'm getting the girls ready, I'm staring out the window. It's a beautiful day out. I'm like, oh, this is great. I get to go be creative after this, or write jokes, or sometimes I'll Zoom with people and help them write jokes on the side and stuff like that. And so it's like, oh, I get to do that, and people pay me to do that. That's great. I would have done that for free. So it's like now though, like everything's a little bit brighter. Like even Joel says that because Joel sees me a lot because I live right by the club, and he's like, yeah, dude, you could tell there's a distinct difference in just your being since. And it's nice because I was doing everything I'm doing already and teaching. And so now to have that part removed, and the only thing that's crazy about it is the pension. But I put 20 years in. So it's like I have a pension. It'll be there. It won't be what it could have been at 15. But I don't want to think about who I would have been if I stayed until 15. Like Darth Vader would be collecting those checks. Right now I'm Anakin. I want to stay that way. I don't want to be going.
I see some of the guys that I used to work with. They're probably 10, 20 years older than me. I'm like, yo, I don't want to be that in 10, 20 years. Like at your desk in a cubicle scrolling Facebook on a laptop.
Yeah. Well, but here's the other side too. So now, okay, I'm all in on comedy, but like, does that mean comedy's going to lose its flavor for me because it was my side piece and now I made it my main piece? Is that going to happen? Like, I wonder, but I think because I've diversified it so much by like, helping other people do comedy, like that, like fills me up like what teaching was doing for me. So I'm still that part. I've always been a teacher. I've always been, not even a teacher. I've always been the guy that said, if I had information and you didn't, I was obligated to give it to you. So if I was higher up on the mountain than you, every once in a while I was going to look down and make sure you were okay and maybe pull you up if you needed it. Like that's just my being. So it's like now I get to that part of me still gets satisfied, whether it's just in the scene, giving a friend a tag, or, I'll go to lunch with a friend, like, last Dan DePriel. I don't know if you know Dan DePriel at all, but he's a comic that I had met that, and he's a very good writer and had spent some time in LA and stuff like that. And so we would go out to lunch the other day, and we just, at the end of it, at one point, we pull out our phones and pitch our jokes back and forth and just have someone to hear it. And then he's very thoughtful. So we both kind of give a chance to give each other. And it's nice when you do that for someone else because I feel like it makes you better too because like it's your mind sharp. It's not your material. So I love that I get to do that part of it too. And I have a new material show. Usually is on a Wednesday when I'm not doing the comedy school. So by the time this airs, it'll already have passed. But I have one coming up on the 22nd of April. And if you ever have a chance, I'd love to have you on it because what I do is I have like pro level comics come out and then we can work on like short new material. So it's a non-pressure. Everybody knows it's new material. Obviously, everybody tells a joke down the middle for the first part, like I talked about earlier with the punchline setup. You go and you tell a strong joke to establish yourself, but then the other 5 minutes should be you working out new stuff, and then close on something you feel strong about, and then all of those comics become a panel, and then I invite all of the younger comics to come, and they can put their name in a bucket like Kill Tony style, and then they get 2 minutes, and then the panel gives them feedback.
Yeah, no, I definitely need that because I feel like I'm actually at the point. I've been doing comedy since 2018 consistently, like, every 3, 4, 5 times a week. And I feel like I'm at a transition period in my career, like where I established myself for who I am, and now I see myself changing. And I feel like the perspective, the jokes might be the same, but the perspective is a little bit different. Yeah. So actively working through that on stage while still getting paid to perform has been my most recent challenge. And places like the new material mic is where I probably would get more comfortable with. It's
so great, and the environment's cool because everybody who's there that's like an audience member really loves comedy, and they love hearing the feedback portion, or they just love being a part of seeing how it's all made and how it's like it really just kind of takes the like the behind the scenes kind of look, and it creates a cool environment. So I've loved it. So I do try to do at least once a month on a Wednesday, and then it's like a good little date night for people to come out. And so that's been a fun show to run, and it helps me because I perform there so much. I'm always trying to add new pieces or new parts because I don't want them to see it. And I never run. I don't have a set in my head except for like that teacher set that I run. But like I never have a set in my head. I try to be more like I heard Tony Woods talk on a podcast, maybe a couple of years ago, where he's like, I let the audience tell me what to tell.
I feel the same way. When when my friend started doing stand-up comic, he was so scared. He's so rigid. He came up there with his phone. He's like, he wouldn't let the phone out of his hand. I said, bro, you got to put the phone down.
Yeah.
Like, I know you got jokes you want to tell, but put that shit down. Like, people are looking at it. And I think I learned that myself because when I first started comedy, I didn't have the phone, but I had a Word document.
Yeah.
I'm like, I can't read this shit. No. And I'm not actually connecting with the people. So I kind of went actually too far the other direction, in my opinion, where I just like, I don't know when I'm going to say it, but I think it's going to be good. Like, you know, I started to trust myself, but I do want to get more routine and regimented. Yeah. Because like when the opportunities, like, you know, when you're on a tour, you got to, your first 10, your next 10, your last 10.
Yeah.
So it's definitely a balance of being regimented and also being free.
Yeah. Well, I think having like an atmosphere like Jokes and Jrinks is like huge for that because now you can, like, you get the fact that you're there almost every week and you get a chance to kind of, you know, get a little latitude to try some things. Yeah. Although sometimes I feel like this way at Joel's when I do the open mic. Sometimes like you have a home field advantage too, though. Yeah. That sometimes it's good to like go elsewhere. I'll go hop over to Grape Room or I'll try a different mic that I haven't been to before, just because I don't want that. You know, I think I know a lot of people like that. Like for example, I was talking with Alex Perlman, and because of his following, he's like, yeah, he had been doing stand up way before he caught on with the social media stuff. Right. And he's like, I love to do don't tells because then they don't see me coming and some of them might not know who I am. Mm-hmm. So I get a chance to make sure my stand-up is sharp and not just like live off of the fact that these people came to see me. Because, you know, he sold out Joel's like 250 at 4 p.m. on a Saturday. Like he just like, he can just get, you know, he got 5 million followers. You better, you know, you better be able to get people out and he can. So it was like, so it's cool that he was also thinking about, oh, okay, yeah, I need to go somewhere where people don't know I'm going to be there. Right. And have a chance.
I've actually found it a little bit. I think Jokes and Jrinks is actually one of the tougher rooms that I perform in now because the people know me. They've heard most of my jokes. Yep. And they know when I'm not being genuine. Yeah. like Justin, that ain't you, motherfucker. Yeah. Like, don't tell me in a heartbeat and I can feel it. And that's when that sweat start coming. So I got to go there on my game and, like, you know, no matter what's happening outside of comedy, which I know you know, there's a lot of things going on outside of comedy. You know, you got it. My job still is to entertain people and make them laugh. Yes. So always trying to get to that space is what I'm trying to do. And I feel like that, yes, it is home field advantage, so there's a certain amount of love they have for me already. Yeah. But, you know,
there's still an expectation. It's like being a Philadelphia Philly, like Bryce Harper. Like, yeah, we all know he's great, but if you don't start performing, we're going to let you know. Yeah. Which is good, too. You want that. You just want the honesty of it because it's going to make you better. I know sometimes when people talk about getting real big, you know, like Kevin Hart big and Patton Oswalt big, like, you know, there's a level there, too, where sometimes you get the opportunity and you get a little weaker. So yeah, I don't want that. And sometimes the teacher, I'll be honest, like I feel like it's not real. Jared will say the same thing. Jared Waters and I'd be talking about. He's like, yeah, this isn't real life. It's like got to get in there and, you know, do some other stuff. So that's why, like, a lot of times I don't do teacher material. I make it a point. If I go to a mic in Philly or somewhere I'm not usually, I don't do teacher material. Because I know that probably they would expect that from me, so I want to establish that that's not who I am or what I'm trying to do. So I'm excited. The end of May 28th, the Pittman Broadway Theater of Pittman, New Jersey, hit me up, and they're letting me headline an hour. So I've been working on a show about like me, an introduction to me. So it's like basically like the little branches of me as like autism dad, teacher, you know. And then it's all these, like, I just had kind of put these sets together into one thing about, like, oh, am I doing this right? Am I doing the dad thing right? Am I doing this right? Am I doing the teacher, husband thing right? Son thing right? And just kind of, so I'm grateful they're giving me that. And I have Pat House and Anant Kumar featuring on that show, too. So it's going to be a great, and it's like a 900-seat theater. It's the first time I'm doing one that's not attached to board teachers. It's just like they hit me up for my social media and stuff like that. So it was really cool. I'm very excited. So it's like my first big thing where I get to kind of step out on my own and I'm not living in the shadow of the board teachers. And this cheer dad thing is also kind of picking up. So I'm actually flying down to Florida on Friday to go. They have like their Super Bowl going on this week, like the Super Bowl of cheerleading called World. So there's like 25 different countries coming, 1,500 athletes are all competing. And I'm like going down there because I have like such a following that doing like social media content down there. And, they've been really good on social media. So I'm like trying to keep that angle going because I'd love to go to the gyms and do shows for the parents and kind of like the teacher style. But is there a cheer dad avenue? Can I get some butts in seats from social media? That's sort of what
that is part of the game. I've been trying to stay consistent with posting every day. I heard the other day that I found crazy.
What's that?
I heard that people don't want to see clips no more, like clips of you doing stand-up and people laughing.
So it's funny because we were talking about that because Alex Perlman and I did a social media thing before his show where he was nice enough to kind of share, and I put together some FAQs that a lot of people have, and we kind of talked about it for 2 hours. And, he's like, stand-up and social media has kind of really ruined stand-up recently because what they want now is they want you to put like almost the punchline up front and then go back. So it's almost like, let me show you the cake and now let me show you how it was made.
Yep.
And so it's like a different style. And he thinks like 5 years down the road, it's going to turn back to what we'd expect and what we want. But right now, social media and clips is really not it. Like what I like to do is like the direct to camera and like, cause you can do set up punchline, just do it as if you're just talking to the camera. So it's like a nice workshopping style. So that's what I was doing with a lot of the cheer dad, just ranting about how expensive the conventions were and doing all this stuff and the team names being ridiculous and that resonates way more than any stand-up clip I've ever done.
And I knew something was wrong because I posted a stand-up clip with a joke that I worked on over 400 or 500 times. Excellent crowd response, 13 likes.
Yeah, dude, no, I'm telling you.
I turned the camera on and just talked some shit on how I'm feeling in the moment. 2,000 likes, so it was just like that. I'm like, God damn.
And the other thing too is like, and Alex explained this nicely. Like the way like TikTok and them works is like you got to keep them if you can get them to the 4th second of your video without swiping away, they start sharing you out to more people too.
Yeah.
But like that hook in the beginning, if you get out there like, hey guys, today I'm going to talk, you're done. You're dead in the water because the swipe. So you got to like come out strong. That's why you need such a strong hook up front to keep people from doing the swipe.
Yeah, because the first thing I said in that video was, I'm tired of Donald Trump.
Yeah,
that was it.
Boom.
And people were like, oh yeah, me too.
Me too. And then now they're going to stay to the 4th second. If you keep them the 4th second, then your retention rate.
I know something.
So if you go back on any of your videos that have done really well or even your stand-up clips, go back and see what the retention is. See how long the average person stuck in because they probably didn't even get through the setup.
Yeah.
So they didn't even get to the punchline. So a lot of them might have liked it, but they didn't get there. Yeah. So it's like it's too hard right now for that. So I think we'll regress. I think at some point the pendulum will swing back.
I mean, there's a crowd work clips. I've even heard people are posting their bombs.
Yeah, because a lot of people will like watch that.
Which I kinda like that.
That crowd deserved more. And like, no, he didn't. It was a terrible joke. Like, that's what Alex was saying. He's like, these people have been doing that, and then people are like, because people want to sit in the uncomfortability of it, and they want to see. So it's like people love that. That's
like
why
cringes in.
That's why they watch those auditors. Do you ever see those people? They go up to the agitators that like are defending the First Amendment, so they'll go into like borough buildings and record and make the ladies in the office uncomfortable to the point that they call the cops, and then the cops show up, and like everybody wants to watch that nonsense. So it's like it's hard because I think with social media, we were talking about this in the workshop. Like every 10 things you post. The ratio that I've heard from marketing companies, because I sat in on a rebrand for the comedy school I work with in New York, and they were talking about, like, it was Maria Bamford's promotional person, and she said, Melanie Vesey, who's amazing, she has a business called Promotional Rescue where anybody could hit her up and she'll kind of like walk through your socials. Mm-hmm. But her thing was like, you need 10, of every 10 posts, 8 need to be content. 2 can be promotional, but if you're just looking at it, and you know how many comedians, you look at their thing, the grid is just posters. It can't be. It can only be 20% posters. Yeah. And even that, like Reels, when you think about it, Reels is how people find you. A post is like your resume because it's going to live on this wall like a living resume. Mm-hmm. And stories is how you take people through your day-to-day, like your followers. But the way people find you are Reels. So sometimes doing a promotion that's a Reel that then shows the promo, or even just go in Canva and you can set the thing to be an MP4, or like you can even just use the photo. By making it a Reel, you'll have the potential to reach non-followers.
Right.
And like even in Instagram, they have something called trial Reels now. If you have like a professional dashboard, where if you're trying something new, something you've never tried before, it'll share it out to people. It'll share it out exclusively to people who don't follow you first.
I did see that. Yeah.
And then they say within like an hour, you can then you can see how it did in that first hour, and then you can share it out to everybody.
Right.
So that was something that Alex mentioned too, of like trying, if you're trying new things. But it's weird. Like I have this thing with my daughter where I do these like little phrases. It's slogans she had never heard before. They were slogans from our era. And then I'd stop right before the end of it. And then she like just says whatever comes to her brain.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so funny because she'll say, the funniest one we ever did was I did like toxic parenting phrases because that was like a trend for a minute. And I'm like, if all your friends jumped off a bridge, she's like, they would fall and die.
And she's correct.
Yes. You know, and I'm like, big girls don't pee in their bed. I'm like, that's right, they don't. But like so it's so fun. And I have so many people come up to me and be like, oh, I love those videos, but they don't interact with them. I'm like, they're not getting the interactions based on, but if somebody sees me, all the fail safe, they'll stop and say, I love those videos. I'm like, well, then either it's not you're not hitting the like button, you're not commenting, you're not sharing, you're not saving.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like, it's so weird. It's just such a weird beast but it's like comedy. It rewards the people who are consistent.
Yeah. And I honestly, the rules be damned. Be consistent. Like, that's pretty much what I'm trying to do across my whole. Like, just be consistent as a father. Be consistent as a comedian. Be consistent as a friend. Something good is going to happen.
Well,
like
May 9th, something's happening.
That's a perfect segue. May 9th, 3 p.m. We'll be at Helium Comedy Club. Get your tickets today. Do not wait.
Yeah, go to Helium's website right now. What are you waiting for? You can pause this. Come on back. But yeah, make sure you go check that show out. That's a Saturday, right? Or Sunday?
It is Saturday.
Saturday the 9th. Yeah, that's going to be great. So
I'll be there with Christopher Titus that day.
Wow.
Yeah,
it's a good it's a good show. Stay for both. Have a great time. But yeah, I hope that is Preach going to be with you.
Yep. Preach is going to be on the lineup.
That's awesome.
We got myself, Preach, Connor King, Ebony Moore, the super hilarious.
Oh my goodness,
she's so funny. Nick Balsaro.
Oh, I love Nick.
Savion Jewett, another young comic.
Yeah.
They've
been doing some fun stuff in the city too.
They have been. I feel like I'm like Savion and his crew, a little like my disciples, because they started. And this is what the beautiful thing is about comedy. It's like when somebody sees something that you're doing and they do it in their way.
Yeah.
Crash Out Comedy is dope. They have it down at Tom and Peace Cafe, but they've had several shows.
Is that the one where they like have the audience be a part of it as well, like in the voting, or is that something else?
Nick Bouse, yes, yeah, actually, yeah, that was the gong mic that they had.
Okay.
But yeah, man, they're everybody on that show is just certifiably funny and guaranteed. And I try to reward the people that show up. All those comics at some point in time have come through. Yeah, except for Ebony. Right. I'm gonna talk to you about that, Ebony. She
Ebony, she's so funny.
But Ebony, it's.
I haven't actually gotten to work with her personally, but I love watching her stuff online as well.
Yeah.
That's the other thing. I think when you do the stand-up clips, it's really for the other comics. Like those are the people who are watching those. It's which is fine because it's like a way of almost networking or showing to them, like, oh, look at me. This is some stuff you might not have seen me do, or if we've only run into each other at a mic, maybe you don't know what a show set looks like for me. Because I've had that happen where there's a comedian, I ran into Grape Room and I like stopped and like watched her whole set because like she's from Bulgaria. Her name is Monica.
I know Monica.
I got to finally do a don't tell with her just the other day, and it was like even fun because I got to hear it for 15 minutes instead of just 4, and did not disappoint. It was just so interesting. So the vibe was so exactly what I expected. I just enjoyed the heck out of it.
Was it Don't Tell Philly?
So it was the one in the suburbs out here, Chester County one. But yeah, her, Ryan Foster, me, and Meredith, and we had a great show. It was fun. But I just love when I get to see comics I don't normally get to see or only see at a mic. Yeah. So, but with the clips, I think sometimes that's what happens. Like, I don't think there's any mistake. That was almost Alex's thing. Don't get paralyzed by something being perfect. Get out there and post it. But just remember, he had a good tip, which like when you post it, it's no longer yours. It's the internet's. So like, don't get too tied up in comments and whatever. Like, it's no longer yours. People are going to do whatever, stitch it, do whatever, but it's no longer yours. And then for the love of God, show it to someone that cares about you or
Right.
or that has a different perspective than you first. Because
Do you do that all the time? Do you run your post by somebody before you?
yeah,
post
if
it?
it's one that I think if I almost didn't do the Pottstown one because I was worried it might be come off as like punching down on Pottstown.
Yeah.
And then I ran it by my wife, another comic out of Florida that I work with on the Board Teachers Tour, and Joel.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, "Hey, Joel, if I pop this out, you want me to collaborate?" And because I was going to do it as a promo for the midweek laughs.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, "Oh yeah, that's great." He's like, "Yeah, no, let's do it." Because he's the kind of guy who's like, "No," he's like, "Oh, we'll try anything." Like, and it was more playful than it was mean. So, but I had this just inkling in me that kind of said, ever since with my image being what it is, I always sometimes when I walk a line or I'm getting a little more edgy, I just try to make sure I didn't step outside myself.
You don't use your comedy for evil.
No.
You know what I'm saying? Some comics use their comedy straight for evil. You know what I mean? Because like there's a huge, I feel like faction of comics out there that just use their powers for evil. Like, and even if you are throwing a punch at somebody, which comedy is punching you, whether you're punching yourself or punching somebody else, I feel like you can feel the intention behind.
Yeah, you can see the smile. Like especially if you're smiling, it's like it definitely came. It was meant to be playful, but it was like, but it was just one of those things where you're just like, I don't know. I think it's good. It's good to have a little check every once in a while. My wife's really good about that because she's like not an easy one to like win over. So and she has certain things she loves that like she loves like Ryan Foster. She really like Monica said like things like that where I wouldn't imagine it's in her person, but it is. I think a lot of times people really like seeing a perspective outside of themselves.
Right.
So that's why I think the uniqueness of a person can really help. Even though there's going to be relatability within the bit, even if the bit's super unique to that person, it's still tied to something, something that we all can relate to.
Right.
And that's the beauty of comedy. Everybody's got a story to tell. So that's why we told, what's a story only you could tell. And that's what we want to hear, and if you want to hear that, make sure you go May 9th to Jokes and Jrinks and see that down at Helium. Anything else you want to plug before we...
Yeah, man. Actually, on May 21st, usually I do the Jokes and Drinks show at Crafty Crab, just donation based. We will have our first ticketed show. We got Simeon Goodson coming from New York. Super hilarious. He's a killer. Oh
he's
my God.
He's like seller comic, right?
He's a seller comic, yeah. And that's super dope. Like now the
I've seen him at St. Mark's. We've been on like a similar showcase show, but what a killer.
Yeah, he's a complete animal. So that ticket's only $10. Like, come get some crabs, some good laughs. That's
really good seafood.
Yeah, so that's me. Go follow me at Justin Lamar Story. I'm Justin Lamar on all platforms.
Keep it consistent. That's the name.
Yeah.
Be consistent. Now, make sure you check out my boy Justin and check me out too, and do all the things. Share, like, subscribe, engage. We know you're sitting on the toilet. That's okay. We all do it. Just don't pretend. But yeah, engage. Even if it's like to say whatever, just say hey, drop some emojis, do whatever. It helps the algorithm. It helps us. It costs you nothing. So do the things. And you know what? We'll see you next week.